One of the first steps in monitoring the water at a wood chip bioreactor starts not in the field, but actually back in the office at a computer. Using a water depth sensor placed inside a control structure is one of the least expensive, but still scientifically defensible ways to monitor tile drainage flow rates. The sensors record the depth of water, essentially the depth of pressure pushing down on them. We can relate the depth of water logged by the sensor in the control structure to a specific tile drainage flow rate moving through that structure. We start this process in the office because these sensors need to be launched from, or essentially set up on, a computer. Unscrew the cap at the end of the transfer shuttle and connect the USB shuttle cable to the computer and the shuttle. Unscrew the water depth sensor cap and insert the sensor into the shuttle. Make sure the small notch on the sensor is aligned with the shuttle to connect the devices. Press the magnetic lever on the shuttle and wait for the green light to turn on, indicating a successful connection. The connection can be sensitive, so set the conjoined devices on a table so they don't get bumped. Wait a few seconds for the sensor to be recognized by the computer. Look for the HoboWare window to say "One device connected" at the bottom right corner. Click the Device drop-down menu and select Launch, which will display a window showing the water sensor's details. Edit the name of the sensor to identify its location at the bioreactor. For example, MCCD_bio for bioreactor_inflow for the inflow control structure. Make sure that absolute pressure and temperature boxes are selected, which is the default. Set the logging interval to 15 minutes, which will allow a good data frequency balanced with the sensor's memory, which will last about 3 months before it gets full and starts to overwrite. Under the Start Logging section, select the On Date/Time option, and then enter the date and time you will be deploying the sensor in the field. Click Delayed Start and wait for the progress bar to load. Disconnect the sensor, and you're ready to go to the field once you've done this with all 3 sensors, one for the inflow structure, one for the outflow structure, and the barometric sensor. One of the tricks with monitoring tile drainage water is that it's underground. Fortunately, conservation practices like wood chip bioreactors have control structures that help route flow correctly into the bioreactor and where we can access the water to sample it and deploy our water depth sensors. Once the PVC elbow has been assembled, put the sensor inside and screw the cap on. These PVC deployment sticks ensure that the water sensors lay flat and level at the bottom of the control structures. Remember, the water sensors are simply logging the depth of water pushing down on them, so if the water sensor moves or isn't laying flat on the bottom of the structure, you'll get an incorrect water depth reading. Place the PVC stick in the control structure on the upstream side, making sure the sensor is flat. Screw the top of the PVC stick to the inside of the structure so that the water sensor at the bottom stays as flat and level as possible. The relatively inexpensive water depth sensors we use to monitor water flow rates are essentially just recording pressure pushing down on them, so we have to record the fluctuations in barometric pressure simultaneously so we can remove those pressure changes from the logged water data later. The way we record barometric pressure is by hanging a third sensor in the air inside one of the control structures. Secure both ends of the sensor to the top stabilizing bar, leaving enough slack in the line to be able to download the sensor when needed. The sensors can be slippery and are very difficult to retrieve from the bottom of the structure or tile pipe if dropped. Secure them well.